What if the Jedi Council believed in Anakin from the beginning? Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
What will happen to me now?
Council have granted me permission to train you. You will be a Jedi. I promise.
As the Jedi Council returns to the temple after the funeral of Qui-Gon-Jin, the atmosphere is grim and somber. Few are in the mood to talk, but there is an important matter to discuss: Anakin Skywalker's accession to the Jedi Order. With one of the highest midi-chlorian counts, his power has the potential to surpass any Jedi since Revan. But if that wasn't unusual enough, his actions on Naboo are another matter. Anakin was said to have managed to destroy a Trade Federation control ship. There is no way he could have done that without the Force. That, or he is simply the luckiest child in the galaxy. The Council unanimously decides that Anakin must be the chosen one, and every resource must be poured into him, if they are to be ready for the Sith. Although Obi-Wan offers to teach Anakin, the Council deems him too young for the task. Instead, the Council decides that different Jedi Masters will teach him different aspects of the Force. The training begins with Master Yoda, who teaches Anakin how to harness the powers of the Force. As he sits, a stack of smooth stones is stacked on top of his head. Although the pile is almost as tall as him, he shows no strain as he uses the Force to balance it. Yoda lifts his head sharply, the stones rising with a subtle flick of his will. With grace, he seizes them in the Force, guiding them to rest softly at his side.
Eager you are, young one, but rush not, you should. The Force flows steady, not swift. In time you will learn this trick.
For long hours, the two remain in the garden, simply breathing and concentrating on everything. Yoda guides Anakin to sense the living energy that surrounds all things, urging him to flow with it rather than impose his will upon it. Plo Koon and Obi-Wan demonstrate lightsaber combat to Anakin, emphasizing calm precision over raw power. They guide him to temper his aggression, mastering defense techniques, and allowing the Force to flow through him, fortifying his guard. In stark contrast, Mace Windu unveils a more formidable and assertive form of combat. With measured intensity, he demonstrates how to wield a lightsaber offensively, disarming opponents and exposing hidden threats. He introduces Anakin to Vapad, a rare discipline that dances on the edge of darkness, teaching him to harness its power without succumbing, channeling the dark side's energy into refined Force techniques and precise, devastating strikes. Perhaps one of Anakin's favorite teachers is Kit Fisto, whose grin never fades as they spar with both lightsabers and hand-to-hand combat. But rather than just teaching him how to fight, the smiling Jedi aims to show Anakin how the Force works through action. In any situation, things may change quickly, and like the Force, Anakin must adapt to it. His least favorite instructor is Jocasta Nu, who introduces Anakin to the intellectual side of the Order. They spend hours looking through holocrons, ancient texts, and maps to study. Anakin soon finds himself falling asleep through most of these lessons, only to be woken up by sharp words. They and dozens of other Jedi Masters help train Anakin, each one providing practical lessons, from Quinlan Vos showing Anakin some of the more exciting worlds of the galaxy, to CC-Teen training Anakin in piloting by taking him to pod racing tracks, with a deal that all the money they earn will go to charity. Anakin becomes an experienced Jedi Master, mastering lightsaber combat, and with the patience and work ethic Yoda instilled in him, becomes a master of harnessing the Force as well. Just in time, too, because soon after, the Battle of Geonosis breaks out, with Anakin at the forefront. Like many of his masters, he finds himself in the middle of Petranaki Arena. Here he holds his own against countless battle droids, disabling hundreds with a combination of Force abilities and lightsaber techniques. But not even this can stop the overwhelming number of droids, or Count Dooku. It is only the clones that manage to save the Jedi, leaving Anakin and Obi-Wan free to try and pursue Dooku. Anakin bursts into the cavernous hangar while Obi-Wan follows after, and the two rush at him as Dooku ignites his lightsaber to parry Anakin's first attack. As their lightsabers clash, he deftly twists his blade, diverting Anakin with a surge of controlled strength before shifting his focus to Obi-Wan. With seamless precision, he pivots and parries each strike, his movements a blur of fluid grace. A flurry of swift, calculated thrusts presses Obi-Wan back, each strike testing the limits of his defense. With a sharp thrust, Dooku's blade strikes true, followed by an upward slash that carves a thin, searing line across Obi-Wan's chest. From behind, Anakin's roar echoes through the chamber as he charges, lightsaber raised high. Dooku, ever composed, effortlessly arcs his blade overhead, parrying Anakin's strike with practiced ease. However, in this battle of strength, Anakin begins to push Dooku's blade down. The Count's eyes widen as he tries to shove his hands forward to throw Anakin back. The young Jedi raises his own hands, and the two move into a battle of wills. But the winner is soon determined, as the CIS leader flies back. Obi-Wan recovers by this point and tries to slash at him, but Dooku manages to slide under the attack and rights himself. The two then come at him at once. This time, it is time to feel the pressure, as his initial advantage is now lost.
Impossible.
You'll find I'm full of surprises.
Anakin delivers a powerful overhead slash that forces Dooku to parry and stagger. Dooku's dodge is fluid, and then blocks Obi-Wan's follow-up attacks. With a flick of his free hand, he sends a pulse of force energy slamming into Obi-Wan, hurling him across the hangar. Anakin doesn't falter and comes at him, his anger flashing.
You'll pay for that.
The Count narrows his eyes, parrying Anakin's onslaught before unleashing a sudden counterattack. A slash towards Anakin's midsection is narrowly dodged, but Dooku follows and slashes up across Anakin's arm. He screams in pain, dropping to his knees, as Obi-Wan rushes over to him while Dooku makes his escape. As Anakin recovers from the battle in the Jedi Temple medical bay, Yoda visits him and offers a reassuring smile.
Difficult to face defeat, but learning to accept it with dignity, important it is.
He was so powerful. Even with all my training, I still couldn't beat him.
Anakin, you must not let this defeat discourage you. Remember, Dooku has been a master longer than you've been alive. There is no shame in losing to him. You will only get stronger with more training.
How can I get stronger without this? I lost a piece of myself out there. How can I try again, knowing that I might never be whole again?
Anakin holds up the stump of his arm and shakes his head, but he feels a hand on his shoulder.
Do or do not. There is no try. Skywalker, difficult your path is, and many lives depend on you. Now more than ever. With Dooku and his separatists, the war rages. Stopping him, the Jedi's duty is. Your duty it is. Whole or not, change your destiny, it does not. Only by trusting in the Force can you find your answers.
Soon after, Anakin receives an unexpected visitor, Chancellor Palpatine, who visits in the later hours when the other Jedi are gone. He gives Anakin a kind smile as he looks down at him.
You must be that young Jedi I've heard so much about. Master Yoda went on about how you performed on Geonosis. I must say I'm impressed. You have an incredible talent for one so young.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'm honored by your praise. It's only a shame that this war is happening.
It is unfortunate. I will not be looking forward to these next few years. That is why I hope you shall return to the front soon.
Would you trust me for a task like that? I've never commanded troops or led armies in the past.
Neither have most of your fellow Jedi, but many lack your ability. I'm counting on men like you for this war. Can I trust you?
Anakin hesitates, momentarily overcome by the trust in him. Part of him is honored by these words, but it also highlights the weight of this responsibility, and part of him is tempted to reject it. But then he looks down at his arm and remembers how Dooku managed to escape and cause this.
Chancellor, you can count on me.
After Anakin recovers from his injuries, he returns and announces he's ready to continue fighting in active duty. The Jedi are pleased with this, and he's assigned his unit to lead in the war effort. There, Anakin proves himself to be a highly talented general. His greatest ability is his creativity and his use of unconventional warfare. He uses tactics that the CIS are not used to, able to outsmart even the best tactical droids. Seeing this, Palpatine sends Anakin to the most hard-fought areas in the Outer Rim. This makes him the poster child of both the Jedi and the Republic. But as Anakin leads his troops across the sector, he is also exposed to the sheer destruction caused by the CIS. Entire worlds are left in ruins, with millions dead, homeless, or scattered. The destruction has a profound effect on him. He feels a strong sense of guilt as he holds himself responsible for their destruction by allowing Dooku to escape. He becomes more determined to defeat the CIS through ferocious tactics. This leads him to take risks, launching daring missions and crushing resistance to great success. The second phase of his journey sees Anakin turning his focus to the shattered worlds left in the wake of the war. His forces remain stationed, not as conquerors, but as protectors, working tirelessly to ease the suffering of those affected. Anakin leads efforts to rebuild homes, crush lingering pockets of resistance, and ensure vital supplies reach those in need. Each act of restoration becomes a step toward healing, as he seeks to mend not just the worlds around him, but the wounds within himself. His compassion is eagerly supported by the Jedi, who see Anakin's efforts as an inspiration to follow, and other Jedi try to emulate it in their sectors. However, the Senate's main concern is to defeat the CIS, and they see the army being sent to try and help the civilian population as a waste of resources, instead suggesting that it can wait until after the battles are done. Anakin refuses to accept this answer, viewing the Senate's decision as a betrayal of the Jedi's core beliefs. His frustration burns openly as he condemns their compromises, voicing sharp criticism even toward Chancellor Palpatine. Despite their friendship, Anakin does not hesitate to challenge him, urging decisive action. He speaks boldly, unafraid to call out what he perceives as neglect of the civilian population. Palpatine sees this and quietly seethes as Anakin proves far more incorruptible than he expected. Rather than being an infallible friend, he is now simply another politician in Anakin's eyes, making it harder to corrupt him, as he's less inclined to simply accept his words. But Anakin still has darkness lurking within him, and Palpatine, ever the architect of manipulation, finds another way to bring it out. Dooku. The campaign begins subtly, with Dooku delivering carefully crafted speeches aimed at reclaiming the public's favor. He discreetly points the finger at Anakin, nudging the blame toward Anakin for failing to prevent Dooku's escape. He then begins making offhanded comments here and there, saying things that remind Anakin of his defeat and its effects. He talks about his regrets, how the clone army wasn't ready in time to help the Jedi, leaving them exposed to his plans. Now and then he talks of how things could have gone differently, dropping hints about missed chances and what might have been. Every time he speaks, it digs at Anakin, stirring up the guilt of his failure and the weight it's left behind. Though subtle, the words start to have their effect, as a dark cloud hangs over Anakin after being reminded of his defeats. Obi-Wan tries to reassure him that it isn't his fault. However, he cannot ignore the consequences, not when Palpatine continues to send him to the hardest hit parts of the galaxy. Even when he cannot hear Palpatine's words, the destruction he sees is a reminder enough. Palpatine hopes to exploit that. While Anakin is fighting, he orders Dooku to organize an offensive, one Dooku shall command personally. He strikes across nearby systems, forcing Anakin to react and face him along with Obi-Wan. The orders from his master are clear, to sow destruction and make it impossible for Anakin to break off the chase. Dooku is happy to comply, raining destruction on Republic worlds, using tactics that are far more brutal than usual. This includes the bombing of civilians, wiping out entire garrisons, and pillaging of towns. Anakin takes the bait as he relentlessly pursues the Sith Lord. This time, his tactics also take a more brutal turn, as Anakin crushes all CIS forces who get in his way, destroying anything he doesn't deem useful. Although Obi-Wan tries to restrain him and get him to take a step back, he is relentless, especially since he engages Dooku several times. Dooku allows Anakin to come close enough to cross lightsabers in a set of planned engagements meant to fuel Anakin's rage and frustration. They do this several times throughout his campaign, and each time the duels become closer and closer. But while these are partially planned out, they are also something Dooku doesn't expect. Whenever he duels with Anakin and Obi-Wan, He feels a spark of familiarity as their lightsabers ring out and he sees the determination in Anakin's eyes. It is a fury and determination that he remembers in Qui-Gon. He finds himself thinking back to his days with his apprentice, where Qui-Gon was always determined to do the right thing, even if it broke protocol. Those memories come rushing back to Dooku each time he faces Anakin, and slowly but surely, the gap between them begins to close without him intending to. This leads them to their fateful encounter on a nearby moon. With their forces depleted, Dooku organizes a stand here to finally face Anakin. The mission is intended to capture and break Anakin. The moon's surface is a desolate, windswept wasteland, but the skies above are anything but, as they fill with ships battling against one another. This time, the CIS fleet has nowhere to run, and is hard-pressed to stand up against the Republic onslaught. Soon, landing ships appear, deploying troops amongst the scattered wreckage from the Republic and Separatist forces. Count Dooku stands at the edge of a jagged cliff, his lightsaber ignited, watching his forces and directing them where they are needed, until he hears the sound of lightsabers igniting.
You've chased me far enough, Skywalker, but this will be the end.
Anakin ignores his almost wary tone and ignites his lightsaber. He ignores his words entirely and instead rushes at him, not even bothering to answer him. Obi-Wan joins him, and a moment later, swinging low and forcing the Count to leap back. By now, this is a familiar song and dance, as Dooku feels Obi-Wan rush at him again, followed by Anakin's relentless barrage of attacks. The careful and practiced lightsaber strokes that Anakin used before are gone. Now he relies on pure instinct and aggression, battering Dooku's defenses and forcing him to defend while Obi-Wan exploits any chinks in his armor. As Anakin swings his lightsaber down, Obi-Wan stabs at his legs and nearly takes it off. The Count twists at the last minute as Anakin strikes again, his movements growing as he is fueled by anger. This time, the Count stumbles back from the attack and looks surprised. The two press their attack. Now Obi-Wan is the one going on the offensive, his lightsaber moving in a few rapid strikes. Dooku deflects and parries, his footwork elegant but strained, focusing on giving ground against these attacks. Once he's forced back, Anakin steps forward and attacks with renewed fury. He had expected Anakin's rage to blind him, to make him predictable, but instead, it sharpened his strikes. Each blow grows heavier, and the bright sparks of their clashing sabers come dangerously close to him. Obi-Wan too presses him harder than ever, but remains restrained.
You've improved, but rage alone will not save you.
Anakin responds by hammering forward, driving Dooku closer to the edge of the cliff. He barely manages to use the Force to steady himself and avoid the next attack. He then faces Obi-Wan, and the two lock lightsabers momentarily.
You act as if you still understand the ways of the Jedi.
I have understood these ways since before either of you was born.
Then can you answer me this? Is this what Qui-Gon would want, Dooku?
The question hangs in the air, piercing through the din of battle like a lightning strike. Dooku hesitates for a fraction of a second, his defenses wavering, his memories flood back. Qui-Gon's unyielding resolve, his kindness, his unwavering belief in doing what was right. In many ways, he sees those same things in Anakin and Obi-Wan. The realization causes his defenses to falter as a sense of shame washes over him. Anakin seizes the moment. His blade arcs through the air, aimed directly at Dooku's exposed side. The blow connects, and Dooku spins back, wincing in pain. Anakin moves to finish the job and ignites a burst of Force judgment. The Sith Lord reacts instinctively, absorbing the Force judgment into his saber while calling on the Force to unleash a blast of lightning back at Anakin. It crackles and snaps, slamming into Anakin's chest and sending him hurtling backward. Anakin crashes into the ground, his lightsaber tumbling from his grip as smoke rises from his scorched tunic. Dooku straightens, his composure restored, but his breathing labored. He looks at Obi-Wan, who raises his blade in a defensive stance, his eyes locked on Dooku with a mix of anger and sorrow.
Don't do this,
Obi-Wan pleads, his voice steady but imploring.
Whatever you're planning, it's not too late to stop.
Dooku's expression softens, just for a moment.
You don't understand, Master Kenobi.
His voice is almost regretful.
The galaxy is on a knife's edge, and Skywalker, he must be broken to save it. His strength will destroy everything if left unchecked.
Qui-Gon believed in Anakin.
Obi-Wan counters and takes a step forward.
He would have believed in him just as I do. Do you really think he would want this?
Dooku's hand trembles ever so slightly, but he doesn't lower his blade.
Qui-Gon is gone,
He says quietly, the words carrying more weight than he intended.
and the galaxy he believed in is gone with him.
With a flick of his wrist, Dooku summons Anakin's unconscious body into the air with the Force. He holds him suspended for a moment, looking at Obi-Wan with something that almost resembles a plea.
Do not follow me, Kenobi. For both your sake and his.
There is an edge of desperation in his voice, as though he is begging Obi-Wan to listen. Before Obi-Wan can respond, Dooku leaps into a waiting shuttle, Anakin's body floating behind him. The roar of the engine drowns out Obi-Wan's cry as the ship ascends into the darkened sky, leaving him alone on the battlefield. Obi-Wan lowers his blade, his shoulders heavy with the weight of failure. For a moment, he simply stands there, staring into the horizon, the wind tugging at his robes. Then, with a deep breath, he turns back toward the wreckage, his mind already racing with plans to rescue Anakin, and to confront the dark truths that Dooku's words have stirred within him. The capture of Anakin Skywalker is a huge blow to the Jedi Order, who lose not just their poster child, but also the chosen one. They immediately commit to a rescue effort, scouring the galaxy for any source of information about where Anakin might have been taken. Thankfully, Dooku does not make a secret of his movements. After his victory against Anakin, he gathers reinforcements and continues his offensive, though at a slower pace. A large Jedi task force is immediately sent out and is led by Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. Their job is to recover Anakin and capture Dooku at all costs. The battlefield erupts with chaos as Kit Fisto and Plo Koon lead the strike team into the heart of the Separatist stronghold. Over 24 Jedi rush forward, dodging blaster fire as they cut through droids. Behind them, their clones follow closely, blasting through drones and organizing defensive lines to deal with the waves of droid and reinforcements. But as they begin organizing defenses, Grievous stands at the center of the carnage, his 4 lightsabers spinning as he cuts through Jedi and clones alike. Plo and Kit stop to stare at the cyborg, taking a deep breath before rushing in. Meanwhile, deep within the labyrinthian corridors of the fortress, Obi-Wan Kenobi moves silently, his presence cloaked in the Force as he evades patrols and security systems. Every step is measured, every breath controlled, as the slightest mistake can give away his position. The deeper he goes, Obi-Wan senses a flicker of the Force. It is faint, but distinct. Obi-Wan makes his way over where Anakin sits slumped against the wall, eyes fixed on the flickering holoscreen in front of him, which shows the battle raging outside. Dooku had it placed there to turn Anakin to the dark side. He watches as Grievous roars and throws back Kit Fisto, then cutting through 2 Jedi companions. Anakin clenches his fists, his anger simmering beneath the surface as he watches the entire battle. But then he feels the lightsaber ignite much closer to him, as the door opens, revealing Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, you took your time. Did you stop for food or something?
Unfortunately, you forgot to fuel your ship again. Now hurry, we need to get out of here.
With Obi-Wan's help, Anakin stumbles into the corridor, moving as quickly as Anakin's condition allows, the sound of the battle outside growing louder with every step. But as they reach the elevator, they find Dooku blocking their path, lightsaber ready.
Leaving so soon, Skywalker. You Jedi never fail to disappoint.
This ends here, Dooku. You won't take him again.
I'm afraid you are too late. He is already taken.
He raises his hand, unleashing a torrent of Force lightning. Obi-Wan deflects it with his saber, pushing Anakin behind him as Dooku rushes forward. Obi-Wan blocks the first attack and manages to push it aside. He redirects the attack away and tries to slash at him, though Dooku parries his attack, and the two begin to duel. Anakin grabs his own lightsaber and joins in, striking from the side. Although surprised, Obi-Wan welcomes the support. He throws a savage slash at Anakin, but the younger Jedi ducks under it and rushes forward, knocking Dooku to the ground. As he falls, Anakin reverses his grip and tries to stab down. The Count shoves him back and rolls aside as Obi-Wan slashes at him. He directs his lightsaber upward and tries to throw Obi-Wan back, but he plants his feet onto the ground and skids back slightly. Obi-Wan quickly covers the lost ground and swings again. Their lightsabers clash repeatedly as their weapons move above their heads. Despite Dooku's best effort, he feels himself being pushed back. In desperation, he tries to throw Obi-Wan back and shoves him aside. But even as Obi-Wan stumbles, Anakin rushes to take his place. After seeing everything in his prison cell, Anakin is now just a being of pure emotion. His blade moves at blinding speed, making it difficult for even Dooku to counter. Any counterattack he throws is batted aside as the young Jedi rushes forward. When their lightsabers clash, Dooku catches a glimpse of the raging fury in Anakin's eyes and knows that he's now part of the dark side. Anakin growls, his strikes becoming more aggressive. Each blow drives Dooku back, his rage building with every clash of their blades. Finally, with a powerful two-handed strike, Anakin disarms Dooku, sending his lightsabers skittering across the floor. He grabs Dooku by the throat and slams him against the wall, placing the blade against his neck.
Anakin, stop! Don't kill him! What? After everything he's done? After how he betrayed the Order? This is too quick a death for him.
He betrayed the Order's trust, but don't do the same by doing this. This isn't our way.
For a moment, Anakin doesn't move, his blade trembling in his grip as he stares down at Dooku. The Sith Lord, though beaten, meets his gaze with a calm defiance. Slowly, he deactivates his lightsaber and steps back, his hands shaking.
What? You should be corrupted. Fallen to the dark side. Maybe that's what happened to you, but I won't let it happen to me.
Dooku's voice breaks as he finds himself thinking back to Qui-Gon so many years ago, to their mission on Whale, when Dooku first felt the calling of the dark side. He remembers the only thing that stopped him, his young apprentice. As he looks at the pair, he sees much of Qui-Gon in them and falls to his knees.
I surrender.
With Dooku in custody, he deactivates the battle droids in his facility, allowing Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, and Obi-Wan to overwhelm and destroy Grievous. Dooku is then taken to Coruscant, where he faces trial. But as he testifies before the Senate, he reveals everything about the CIS, not just his role, but also Palpatine's. At first, the Senate and Jedi hardly believe it, but as they go through all his records and show his ties with Palpatine, things begin to make much more sense. The Republic is rocked by this betrayal, none more so than Anakin, who reaffirms his loyalty to the Jedi and denounces Palpatine. Palpatine is soon arrested and executed alongside Dooku, though the Count seems resigned to his fate, accepting it with dignity. Palpatine raves. Through this one act of mercy, Anakin brings balance to the galaxy. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.